Thanks for joining me on iHeartRadio on the Tech of Sports this week and the big Professional Pickleball Association pro event wrapped up here in Vegas this weekend, and was happy to meet one of the competitors, Megan William, and she's agreed to come on this week and kind of talk about her journey from tennis, like so many of the pickleball players, to pro pickleball. And Megan, thanks for coming on.
Hi, yeah, hi everyone. Thank you, Rick, for having me. It was an honor to meet you that day I was competing, and it's an honor to be here right now.
Yeah, Megan is a crafty player and working her way finally with a world pickleball ranking and working her way up the different levels of the tour. And Megan, give my listeners a little the little Cliff Notes version on your experience and where you are right now.
Yes, no problem. So I started pickleball, just invited by some friends to the park last year, 2024, in December. And my first reaction was, no, tennis is better. I'd rather stick with tennis. And then I finally, agreed to go and went to the park and started playing with everyone there. And I was like, whoa, I'm actually good at this. And then everybody around me was also saying the same. They were like, wow, you definitely play tennis, which is funny, but because I did not expect, it to translate that much. So that was really awesome to see, especially, I played tennis since I was 3 years old. And I remember telling my mom at 7 I wanted to be a professional tennis player. I toured the Caribbean and Central America between the age of 9 and 14 playing tennis and on the junior pro level, which was a great experience. And then I went over to Division Two college where I attended the University of Charleston and played on the women's tennis team there. Great experience, definitely what I was looking for in terms of that college tennis experience. And I do think, now that I've played more pickleball, all that experience from being a tennis player, it does translate into pickleball. So um, definitely I was happy that I was open to going to the park with my friends and exploring that I have a talent in a different sport, definitely similar, but
Yep.
they have their definite unique differences. So that was December 2024. I started playing, and then I just hopped into a 3-5 amateur women's singles tournament, and I got gold in that. And that's when that competitiveness kicked in me, and I said, you know what? I definitely don't want to keep this as a hobby or as recreational play. Let's see how we can take this to the highest level. That's something I told my friend, and it's definitely been an awesome, awesome time since then. We are now in August 2025, and I'm entering professional pickleball tournaments and 5-0 women's singles tournaments, and also playing doubles.
Yep.
And I definitely have no regrets. It's been great because I had a lot of fire in tennis, and I feel the same fire and even more in pickleball. So I'm definitely excited to keep unfolding this
Yep.
journey and learning about myself in so many different ways.
Yep, I can tell that fire is there, the competitiveness is there just by watching you play. And we're in September now, Megan, not August. So the calendar keeps moving as you do up the rankings, and it's like any sport. There's a journey involved, and the better players advance and win out, and kind of talk about moving up the ranks in pickleball. How hard is it, and kind of the stress and the costs that are incurred.
Yeah, so right now, just entering that pro level, the stress that comes with it is, as a tennis player, you have a little more pressure on yourself. Like, I should be good at this. I should never be missing a forehand. I should never be missing a backhand. That's a little stressful, and you have to. I think I've tried to practice just being a little more kind to myself and understanding there is a difference in the sports, and not because I played tennis for 22 years means I cannot miss one forehand in pickleball, and because sometimes I've done that to myself, it makes my performance worse because I'm stressing on myself more than I need to, making it harder for myself. So I do think what's stressful, and hopefully other tennis players who have transitioned can relate to this, that we probably think, we should be a lot better in pickleball than we probably are, but we need to understand it. It just takes time, and you just have to learn the sport a lot more. So definitely that is a stress that I have on court. Transitioning into pickleball from tennis as a tennis player, or it's definitely nice that we have that natural ability to be able to swing and know how to move. So that definitely sometimes takes off a toll. I do always tell pickleball players that I meet that have never played tennis, I'm like, you're amazing, because I do not know if I would ever play pickleball if I never played tennis. You know what I mean? I don't know what I would look like as an athlete on a pickleball court who never played tennis. I think people who've never played a racket sport and jump into pickleball and are, doing well and having fun, kudos to them, because a racket sport is definitely a difficult sport. When it comes to getting into that pro level and trying to get a ranking and trying to get points, thankfully, I'm not thinking about that too heavily as I probably was in tennis. I am trying to walk onto the court every match and I have small goals every match or every tournament. I have very small goals for myself that I try to achieve, to progress, and trying my best to always give my 100% effort. Just because, if you start thinking about ranking and points, all these things get in your head a little too much, and you just stress for no reason. So that's not definitely something that's not been on my mind, but it's still something that I think of in terms of, okay, if I get to a certain round in this tournament and I get a certain amount of points, that helps me. So I think of it in that way,
Yep.
which has been very helpful for me. And then you mentioned about, the financial side of pickleball. Coming from tennis is an expensive sport. So it was not like a shocker to see, pickleball is kind of on the same expense range as tennis. Um, but definitely taking pickleball to the professional level, you need, that financial support in terms of entering tournaments, practicing, getting the treatment that your body needs, which is the most important part. Ensure you're eating well. Eating healthy right now is much more expensive than just saying, hey, let me just get some McDonald's. So stuff like that becomes expensive. The equipment that you need can be expensive.
Yep.
But the biggest expense would be definitely traveling and going to tournaments, because what the pickleball association is doing, they're trying to spread it around the world, around the United States. So, you might live in one state and there might not be too many tournaments. So guess what? You're going to have to leave and go to those tournaments. So that is definitely, can be financially straining on some athletes, some families. So that's some of the financial things that you face as a pickleball player or as a professional player. So
Yep. If does the fact that pickleball is growing so rapidly, Megan, does that help you, or I know it's bringing more players into the ranks as well, but how do you feel about the sport growing so quickly?
yes, with the sport growing, yes. To answer your first question, it does help me, in terms of, when I go out in the community and stuff like that, people are interested because they see it's a sport that's, everywhere on TV, everywhere on social media. So it definitely catches people's attention. So in that way, the way that the sport is growing is helping me, yes, in that way, especially coming from a small island in the Caribbean. Um, they have access to social media where they see the sport is growing as well. So they support me because that's something that they see is trending right now. So that in that way, it definitely helps me, getting that support from, my country or my family or my friends that probably, wouldn't have really looked at it if they didn't know that, Megan was playing.
Yep.
And then in terms of it growing on a worldwide stage, or, I think that's awesome, especially because a racket sport is not something, that people catch their first eye on. People are more into, football or basketball. So it's nice to see that the world has a nice grasp on pickleball and its growth, and people are enjoying it. It's a sport you can just go in your backyard and anybody can play it. I think that growth is really important, that anybody can play it and there's no limits to it, or you don't have to be the most athletic person to play it. So in that regard, it's great that it has that type of growth where just anybody can say, hey, let's try pickleball.
Yep. And as we wrap up here with Megan, and we'll put links to her in the show notes. Where do you go from here, Megan, the rest of the year? More tournaments, more practice, and try to improve your ranking the rest of the year, I assume.
Yes, for the rest of the year, it's very exciting. I have a calendar of tournaments that I would like to attend and like to participate and make a great mark on those tournaments. So for the month of September, there's about 3 to 4 tournaments lined up. October, probably the same amount. November, December, same amount. In between those tournaments, when I'm back home in Las Vegas, I am training very hard, trying to keep my body right, getting the right treatment, eating right, and definitely, keeping a sharp mind, keeping myself, in the right frame of mind for tournaments and for practice. Definitely trying to balance my life as well, doing things outside of pickleball. For example, swimming or trying new foods. I love trying new foods. So these are some of the things that are lined up for the rest of the year. Um, and I'm looking forward to it. Very excited for all these tournaments, and definitely in terms of getting my ranking up and getting some points. Yes, that's a big goal because I definitely, first thing, I want to make a name for myself in the sport, and I definitely want to represent my country on that world ranking.
Yep.
It's the only little St. Lucian flag right now on the ranking board, so I want to see that flag keep going up in numbers. I feel a lot of pride in that. I've always felt pride in that playing tennis, and I have the same pride playing pickleball. So that's definitely one of the goals for the rest of the year.
Yep, you're doing things the right way, and great following you. If people want to find out more, or if they want to contact you with opportunities, what's the best way to go about that?
Yes, you can reach me at my email, which is Megan, Meggan, William at pb at gmail.com. So it's Megan William pb at gmail.com. You can reach me through there, no problem.
Fantastic, and you're good on social media, and more to come. And Megan, thanks for coming on, and we will have you on again and get updates from you. And good luck the rest of the year.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. And yes, I would love to keep you guys updated. It's definitely an honor to be here and share my story and inspire anybody that's listening. So thank you again, and looking forward to staying in touch.
Thank you, Megan.